For nearly 2,000 years, Bible scholars have hunted for her identity. A woman dressed in purple and scarlet, dripping with gold and jewels, holding a golden cup filled with abominations, drunk on the blood of the saints. She sits on many waters. She rules over the kings of the earth. The merchants of the world have grown rich from her luxuries, and on her forehead, a name: Mystery, Babylon the Great. For centuries, theologians pointed to Rome, the seven hills, the persecution, the purple robes of cardinals. Others insisted it must be a rebuilt city in ancient Iraq, literal Babylon rising from the desert. But none of them could have imagined that she might be waving a torch in New York Harbor. Today, we investigate the most controversial prophetic theory of our time. Is the United States of America the final fulfillment of Babylon the Great in the book of Revelation? The evidence will disturb you, the symbols will shock you, and the ending is written in fire. Before we examine the evidence, we need to understand what Mystery Babylon actually means, because if we get this wrong, everything else falls apart. When the Apostle John wrote Revelation around 95 AD, the ancient city of Babylon had already been in ruins for over 600 years. It fell to the Medes and Persians in 539 BC. By John's time, it was little more than crumbling walls and desert sand. So why is John writing about Babylon as if it's a future superpower? The answer lies in one word: mystery. In Greek, the word is mysterion, and here's what most people miss. It doesn't mean mysterious or unknowable. In the New Testament, mysterion refers to a divine truth that was once hidden but is now being revealed by the Spirit of God. When John writes Mystery Babylon, he's signaling something crucial. This isn't about the geographic location in Iraq. This is about a spiritual successor, a future entity that embodies everything ancient Babylon represented. And what did Babylon represent? Go back to Genesis chapter 11, the Tower of Babel. Under Nimrod, described as a mighty hunter against the Lord, humanity gathered to build a tower reaching to heaven. One language, one people, one goal. Let us make a name for ourselves. Three characteristics defined the Babylon spirit from the very beginning. First, secular humanism, man reaching heaven by his own effort. Second, globalism, one unified world system. Third, pride, glory for humanity, not God. This spirit didn't die when ancient Babylon fell. It simply moved, and the prophets knew it. Isaiah 13 describes Babylon's destruction like Sodom and Gomorrah, a sudden supernatural overthrow where no one will ever live there again. But historically, that never happened. Babylon declined slowly over centuries. People continued living in the region for generations, which means the prophecy points to something future, a final Babylon, the ultimate incarnation of the anti-God system. The question is, who fits the description? Let's examine the evidence, layer by layer, prophecy by prophecy, and let the scriptures speak for themselves. Revelation 17 verse 1 introduces Mystery Babylon with a striking image: the great prostitute who sits on many waters. Jeremiah 51:13 echoes this, addressing Babylon directly. You who dwell by many waters, abundant in treasures. Now, ancient Babylon sat on the Euphrates River, one river. Impressive for its time, but hardly many waters. Rome, the Mediterranean, one sea. But America? Stand on the East Coast and you face the Atlantic Ocean, the second largest body of water on Earth. Walk to the west coast and you meet the Pacific, the largest. To the south, the Gulf of Mexico. To the north, the Great Lakes, the largest freshwater system on the planet. Running through the heartland, the Mississippi-Missouri River system, the fourth longest in the world. No nation in history has been so literally surrounded by water. But there's more. In Revelation 17:15, the angel explains the symbolism. The waters that you saw are peoples and multitudes and nations and languages. Think about that. Many peoples, many nations, many languages, all flowing into one. What phrase appears on America's Great Seal? E pluribus unum, from many, one. No nation on earth was built by immigration like the United States. Every ethnicity, every continent, every language. Wave after wave of humanity, from the Mayflower to Ellis Island to the southern border today. The world poured into America like rivers into an ocean. Stand at the base of the Statue of Liberty and read the inscription. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. She sits on many waters, literally and figuratively. No other candidate comes close. But geography alone doesn't make a Babylon. The prophets described something else, a military force unlike anything the ancient world could imagine. Jeremiah 50:23 contains one of the most striking titles ever given to Babylon, How the Hammer of the Whole Earth Has Been Cut Apart and Broken. A hammer. Think about what a hammer does. It crushes, it breaks, it reshapes. It builds by destroying what came before. Ancient Babylon was powerful, but regional. Its hammer struck Mesopotamia, not the whole earth. Rome's legions conquered the Mediterranean world. Impressive, but still limited to one region. The Mongol Empire swept across Eurasia. Devastating. But they never touched the Americas, Sub-Saharan Africa, or Australia. Now consider the United States. Over 800 military bases in more than 70 countries. The only nation capable of projecting overwhelming force to any point on Earth within hours. A defense budget larger than the next 10 nations combined. Aircraft carriers patrolling every ocean. Satellites watching every square mile of the planet. In the 20th century alone, American military power crushed the German Empire, the Japanese Empire, and contributed decisively to the collapse of the Soviet Union. In the 21st century, American forces have operated in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Somalia, and dozens of other nations. Name another empire that has reshaped the political order of every inhabited continent. You can't, because there has never been one. But Jeremiah saw something even more remarkable. Chapter 51, verse 53. Though Babylon should mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify her strong height, destroyers will come. Mount up to heaven? Ancient Babylon had ziggurats, impressive stepped pyramids, but mounting to heaven was poetic exaggeration for them. For America, it's literal. NASA put men on the moon. American satellites circle the globe. The Space Force, the first military branch dedicated to space warfare, now guards the ultimate high ground. When the prophet Obadiah warned, "Though you soar like the eagle and make your nest among the stars, from there I will bring you down," he used Israel's future enemies' own symbol against them. And what is America's national symbol? The eagle, the hammer of the whole earth, mounting up to heaven, nesting among the stars. No nation has ever fit these descriptions. until now. But Revelation 18 adds another dimension, not just military power. Economic dominance so complete that when she falls, the entire world goes bankrupt. Listen to the prophecy in Revelation 18, verses 11 through 13. The merchants of the earth weep and mourn for her, since no one buys their cargo anymore. Cargo of gold, silver, jewels, pearls, fine linen, purple cloth, silk, scarlet cloth, and slaves, that is, human souls. Notice the structure. The merchants don't weep because their supplier is gone. They weep because their customer is gone. No one buys their cargo anymore. Mystery Babylon is the world's ultimate consumer. The market that makes merchants rich. The buyer whose collapse means no one to sell to. What nation runs the largest trade deficit on Earth? America imports more than it exports by hundreds of billions of dollars every year. Chinese factories exist because American consumers buy their products. German automakers thrive because Americans purchase their cars. The whole world sells to America, and everyone knows what happens when America stops buying. In 2008, a housing crisis in the United States triggered a global financial meltdown. Banks collapsed in Iceland. Factories closed in China. Stock markets crashed from London to Tokyo. And that was just a mortgage adjustment. Imagine if America itself was destroyed. In 1 hour, such great wealth has been laid waste. But America's economic grip goes even deeper. Since 1974, global oil has been traded exclusively in US dollars, the petrodollar system. Every nation on Earth must hold American currency to buy energy. The dollar isn't just money. It's the operating system of global commerce. And that final item in the cargo list? Slaves and human souls. America is a primary destination for human trafficking networks. American corporations profit from cheap overseas labor in conditions approaching slavery. The American entertainment and pornography industries commodify human beings on an industrial scale, exporting moral corruption to every nation with an internet connection. The merchants of the earth have grown rich from the power of her luxurious living. And when she falls, they will weep. Not for the people, for their profits. 3 matches: geography, military, economy. But now we enter stranger territory. Symbols hidden in plain sight since America's founding. Revelation 17 describes Mystery Babylon as a woman arrayed in purple and scarlet, adorned with gold and jewels and pearls, holding in her hand a golden cup full of abominations. A woman, lavishly dressed, holding a cup, standing as a symbol of the empire. Now think about the most recognizable symbol of the United States. A woman, lavishly crowned, standing at the gate of the nation. The Statue of Liberty was a gift from French Freemasons in 1886. Officially, she represents Libertas, the Roman goddess of freedom. But the symbolism runs deeper. Compare her to ancient depictions of Ishtar, the queen of Babylon. Ishtar wore a crown with rays emanating like the sun. She often held a torch or cup. She was a goddess of the gate, welcoming travelers into the city. She was called Queen of Heaven. The Statue of Liberty wears a crown with 7 rays. She holds a torch. She stands at the harbor gate, welcoming the world. And in Jeremiah chapter 44, God explicitly condemns Israel for worshiping the Queen of Heaven. Coincidence? Perhaps, but the parallels multiply. Travel to Washington, D.C., designed by Freemason Pierre L'Enfant. Researchers have identified occult geometry in the street layout. Pentagrams, the Masonic square and compass formed by the arrangement of major buildings. At the heart of the National Mall stands the Washington Monument, a 555-foot Egyptian obelisk. In ancient symbolism, obelisks represented Osiris, the god of the dead, and Baal, the sun god. Why Egyptian symbolism in America's capital? Inside the Capitol Dome, look up. You'll see the Apotheosis of Washington, a painting depicting George Washington ascending to godhood, surrounded by Roman deities like Minerva and Neptune. The first president of the United States, painted as a god. Now take out a dollar bill, the most widely circulated piece of paper on Earth. On the back, you'll find an unfinished pyramid topped by a floating eye, the all-seeing eye, associated with Egyptian god Horus, or, in esoteric traditions, with Luciferian illumination. Below it, Novus Ordo Seclorum, New Order of the Ages. Above, Annuit Coeptis, He approves our undertaking. Who is he? The number 13 appears obsessively. 13 steps on the pyramid, 13 arrows, 13 olive leaves, 13 stars, 13 letters in the mottos. Look closely near the number 1 on the front, and some researchers identify a tiny owl, the symbol of Minerva, goddess of wisdom, but also associated with Moloch, the god to whom children were sacrificed. This is the currency that rules world trade, covered in pyramids, eyes, and Latin phrases about a new world order. These aren't Christian symbols. They're not American symbols. They trace back to ancient mystery religions, to Egypt, to Rome, to Babylon. The symbols point backward, but the prophecies point forward. To fire, to destruction, to an ending that comes in 1 hour. 3 times in Revelation 18, the same phrase echoes like a funeral bell. Verse 10, "In 1 hour your judgment has come." Verse 17, "In 1 hour such great wealth has been laid waste." Verse 19, "In 1 hour she has been laid waste." 1 hour. Think about how ancient cities fell. The siege of Babylon in 539 BC required careful planning, diverting the Euphrates River, and a surprise night attack. The siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD took months of Roman assault. No technology in the ancient world could destroy a great empire in 60 minutes. But we live in a different age. The flight time of an intercontinental ballistic missile from Russia to the United States is approximately 30 minutes. A full nuclear exchange, thousands of warheads detonating across both nations, would complete in under an hour. For the first time in human history, the 1 hour destruction is physically possible. And notice where the destroyers come from. Jeremiah 50 and 51 repeatedly warn of a nation from the north. Verse 3, "Out of the north a nation has come up against her." Verse 9, "An assembly of great nations from the north country." Verse 41, "Behold, a people comes from the north." If Babylon means Iraq, the north could indicate Turkey or Russia. But if Mystery Babylon is America, consider this. The shortest flight path for Russian missiles reaches the United States over the North Pole. From the north. Precisely. And today, with the war in Ukraine, with NATO expansion, with explicit nuclear threats from Moscow, the nation from the north has never been more relevant. But here's the most haunting detail. Revelation 18, verses 9 and 10. "The kings of the earth will stand far off in fear of her torment, as they watch the smoke of her burning. Verse 17. All shipmasters and seafarers stood far off. Far off. Why? In ancient times, when a city burned, people rushed in to help, to loot, to witness. But these observers stay distant. They fear to approach. They watch the smoke from far away. One word explains it: radiation. Nuclear fallout forces observers to keep their distance. They watch via satellite, not rescue teams. They see the smoke rising over a continent, and they dare not come close. And there's one more prophecy. Revelation 17, verse 16. The 10 horns that you saw, they and the beast will hate the prostitute. They will make her desolate and naked, and devour her flesh and burn her with fire. The 10 horns, 10 kings or power blocks aligned with the Antichrist, will turn on Babylon. Allies become enemies. The system she rode will destroy her. Today, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and their expanding alliance, actively work to de-dollarize global trade. Anti-American sentiment grows across the global South. Even traditional allies in Europe increasingly chart independent courses. They will hate the prostitute. The conditions are aligning. And 3 times in Scripture, the same command rings out. Jeremiah 51:6. Flee from Babylon, run for your lives. Jeremiah 51:45. Come out of her, my people. Revelation 18:4. Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, lest you share in her plagues. Come out. So, where does that leave us? To be fair, other candidates exist. Rome fits some criteria: the 7 hills, the blood of martyrs, the purple and scarlet of church vestments. A rebuilt Babylon in Iraq remains possible. Zechariah chapter 5 describes wickedness being carried to the land of Shinar to build a house there. And some scholars believe America simply isn't mentioned in prophecy because it will collapse or be raptured into irrelevance before the final events unfold. These views deserve serious consideration. This is not settled doctrine. But here is what cannot be ignored. No city in history has sat on many waters, both literal oceans and figurative peoples, like America. No empire has been the hammer of the whole earth, projecting power to every continent, like America. No nation has made the merchants of the earth rich through consumption, like America. No power has mounted up to heaven and nested among the stars through space technology, like America. No country has exported its culture, its music, its movies, its morality to every corner of the globe, like America. Rome was powerful. Ancient Babylon was wealthy, but neither dominated global commerce, military force, and cultural influence simultaneously. Only one nation in 6,000 years of human history holds all 3 crowns. And you're living in it. But here's what matters even more than identification. Revelation 18:4. Come out of her, my people, lest you take part in her sins, lest you share in her plagues. God's people are inside Babylon. The call is to separation. This isn't necessarily a command to buy a plane ticket. It's a command to examine your heart. Have you adopted Babylon's values? Do you worship her gods, money, power, pleasure, comfort? Do you place your security in her systems rather than in the living God? Because whether America is Mystery Babylon or not, one truth remains absolute. every earthly empire falls. Babylon fell, Persia fell, Greece fell, Rome fell, the British Empire fell, and whatever nation sits at the pinnacle today will fall. Only the kingdom of God stands forever. If this theory is correct, millions of believers are living inside the very system prophesied for destruction. That's not cause for despair. It's cause for urgency, for holiness, for watching and praying. The God who warned Lot to flee Sodom is the same God who warns his people today. Mystery Babylon, whoever she is, represents everything opposed to God's kingdom. Pride. The tower builders said, "Let us make a name for ourselves." Greed. The merchants grew rich from her luxuries. Immorality. She held a cup full of abominations. Self-worship. She said in her heart, "I sit as a queen, I shall never see mourning." The call to come out isn't just about geography, it's about allegiance. Are we building towers to our own glory? Are we drunk on the comforts of this world? Or are we pilgrims passing through, with our eyes fixed on a city whose builder and maker is God? And here's the final truth that anchors everything. Even if America falls, even if the smoke rises and the merchants weep and the world as we know it crumbles in a single hour, God doesn't fall. He sits above the nations. He laughs at the schemes of kings. He writes the final chapter. For those who belong to him, the destruction of Babylon is not tragedy. It's the doorway to the kingdom. So, what do you think? Is America Mystery Babylon? Or is there another explanation the evidence hasn't considered? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. But more importantly, examine your own heart tonight. Are you living as a citizen of Babylon, trusting her wealth, chasing her pleasures, adopting her values? Or are you living as a citizen of heaven, ready to come out when the call sounds? Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. Until then, stay watchful, stay faithful, and remember, every Babylon falls. But his kingdom, it stands forever.